Western media and journalism has reached a whole nother level of low. We knew this was going to happen. We knew this is coming. I'm beyond frustrated right now, by the way, so this is probably a jumbled mess right here. I have to vent. Yes, that hit piece, that absolutely slanderous video by Vice, the Inside the Bleep manga industry in Japan, that video won the Emmy. I talked about this a while back. I made a video when it was nominated for the Emmy, and I went through every single second of that video and pretty much disproved everything in it and talked about why every single bit of it was a lie. It was a misrepresentation. It was just a hack job journalism. It was literally an activist. It was an activist that had a bone to pick. And that garbage of a video is being celebrated now. And yes, I mentioned it before in my other video. There's a lot of people that are going to say, who cares about the Emmys? Nobody cares about this stuff. It's a joke already. My whole point there was that by it winning this, by it being nominated, it was putting a spotlight on it. It was literally them celebrating it and saying this is a good thing. And that's nothing but a bad thing for the industry itself. It's nothing but a bad thing for the Japanese citizen. The Japanese citizen who wants their freedoms. And this activist is saying, take their freedoms away. That's literally like this big portion of that video is literally somebody saying, from another country, saying, take away their freedoms. You are a horrible person unless you take away their freedoms. Japan, you are nasty unless you take your freedoms away. Even though your laws are pretty much the same as our laws, that was another part of that whole video that was complete falsity, claiming that if you had what she had with her in the United States or something, that you would be put in jail. No, that is a falsity. Our laws, in the United States anyways, our laws state that it's fine unless it's indistinguishable from the real thing. So all the stuff that she was showing, that she was claiming you get in trouble if you brought it over here, no, that is a lie. Absolute lie. And that is what they are celebrating. They're celebrating lies. How is that a good thing? It blows my mind that somebody can't watch that documentary, that activism, that xenophobia. They can watch that and not see the lies in it. For those that don't know what this whole Vice hit piece thing is, it's essentially this lady, Hanako Montgomery, and she goes over to Japan, and she basically goes to this convention and sees characters like her on a wall and goes, oh, this is so horrible. I'm disgusted. Oh, drawings. And then she's all offended. And then she goes to this guy's place that he's a mangaka, and he draws an actual manga that has depictions of young characters in it in really bad positions. And she's pretty much pointing out how this is everywhere in Japan. Japan accepts this. They don't stop this. There's no laws against this. And then they go from there to essentially connect drawings to actual predators. They talk to a man that is a convicted predator. Somebody that actually broke the law. Somebody that actually touched a child. Somebody that, in my opinion, should have been executed. But hey, I don't control Japan laws. I'm not like this activist where I'm going to go over there and tell them they need to change their laws. Even though that man literally did those things before he read manga, she's trying to make the guy say that it is the fault of the manga, right? And he's like, yeah. She's literally handing him an excuse for his deplorable nature. She's trying to hand him an excuse for doing something that no person should do, and that's harm a child. She's trying to say, don't worry, it's not you, it's the book. That's how terrible this video is. Then she goes from there to basically misrepresent an assembly member by trying to go, oh, look at this horrible thing I got. You should get rid of this, right? And he says, no. We don't create laws unless there's scientific proof that that is doing something wrong. We don't take freedoms from our people because you come walking in that door with a naughty book and say that's causing bad things. We don't work like that here. And guess what? Your nation where, I wish he said that, your nation where you're from is the same damn laws. So rather than coming here and handing me that book and saying, Japan's horrible, stop it. I'm going to say, go back to your nation and tell them that same thing. That is activism. That is misrepresentation that this video is doing. Then they proceed from there. They go and they talk to another guy that's a psychiatrist or something like that for recovering people. And he literally sits there and contradicts his own statements. Then they slap that all together with a bunch of inappropriate clips and stuff like that. And they throw it on YouTube before proceeding to block it from Japan so they don't know what they just did. So that she can go back there later on. And the fact that she broke the law while she was over there. She was filming in a location where she wasn't supposed to film. She misrepresented a representative. They literally turned down the brightness to make him look like a mob boss. They blocked it from Japan because they knew they would probably take issue with it. The Emmys, the Western media is celebrating that. They're celebrating literally a hit piece. They're celebrating misinformation. And they're celebrating the most disgusting case possible for defamation of an entire country. An investigative work that literally has no logical conclusion from it. It's literally just an activist that's screaming at the clouds over there. And you're supposed to accept it. And if you don't accept it, then anybody that's defending it is just going to say, and this is what's a problem with most people that were trying to cover this whole situation, is that anybody that accepts that this is logical, this video is logical, they'll go to anybody that says it's illogical and say, oh, that's because you defend inappropriate content. I stated several times in my video, I don't partake in what they were showing there, which, by the way, they had in their YouTube video, and their YouTube video is in the United States, and it goes by our laws here. So that's a prime example of her claim that this being in the United States would end you up in jail. It's in the video. And you posted the video in US servers, and you're not arrested for it. Thus, your logic is flawed. I say it several times in my video that I don't partake in this, but the thing that I support the most is not taking away people's freedoms. That's my problem with this. It's somebody saying, Japan, take freedoms from your citizens. Take freedoms away from them. Because it offended me. That's not how this works. And that's what that assembly member tells them. There's no evidence this leads to criminal acts. We make laws and regulations based on scientific basis. Our laws are based on the will of the people, not a random activist that flies in on a jet. And I wish that he had told her, and your laws are the same as ours. United States, under Code 2256, it has to reach two criteria. One is that it's indistinguishable from the real thing, and it doesn't apply to drawings, cartoons, sculptures, and paintings. Japan is no different. But this video wants you to believe it is, and that's why it's deplorable. The reason why the West wants to celebrate this video, the reason why the Emmys wants you to like this video, the why they got that award, these big Western companies, these big media companies, these bigwigs, they want you to look at this because they want you to believe that they're the problem. Look at Japan. Don't look at us. Because if you look at us, you'll see real victims. Shoot, look at Vice's website. I pointed out a whole bunch of it in my last video. Articles such as opens up about being targeted. A child victim on why society should be more empathetic to most child abusers are not, expert says. The only thing controversial about cuties is how badly Netflix marketed it. That makes sense to you? This lady went into an anime expo and seen this and got offended. But her own damn website says, opens up about being targeted. A child victim on why society should be more empathetic to something that doesn't add up. And like I said, it's a sign that they want you to look at Japan and not look at them. Because they're the ones that don't want to look at actual human trafficking. I wonder why. I wonder why. I wonder why, in that video, Hanako Montgomery literally tries to hand this actual predator his excuse. I wonder why. It's almost like she's trying to protect the predator by saying it's not your fault. Even though you're doing it long before you read these things, it's not your fault. Help me out here. Give me a connection. Because man, I came all the way to Japan with this thought in mind, and my thought process cannot be wrong. So make it to where I'm not wrong. Join me halfway. Let me defend you. Let me give you an excuse for why you are the way you are. Which again, is false because he was already a predator. Anyhow, I gotta stop. I am infuriated, as you can tell, and I'm sick of talking about this. So hopefully, now that they got their Emmy, now that they got their back pat, let me see, what was the tweet? I'm sorry, I gotta check the tweet. Back in Japan now that I'm finally processing that we won an Emmy. It took months of reporting, the tireless efforts of our wonderful team, and the faith of our interviewees for the story to come together. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for coming together to defame an entire country. By the way, replies are blocked, obviously. It is so sad that Japan can't do anything about it because they blocked it over there. I really wish that they would somehow get somebody to arrest her for literally breaking the law. She literally spits in Japan's face, flies over here, gets her Emmy, and then goes back. I'm sorry, Japan. I'm sorry. I wish I could control these people, but I can't. Plus, I don't think she's American. I think Vice is Canadian. I don't know. Whatever. I gotta stop. This is infuriating me. Anyhow, I'm gonna actually end it the same way I ended my last video, which I think is literally like all-encompassing everything I think about this. The main key thing here is freedoms. Like I said before, I don't support the stuff that they showed in that video. I don't partake in it. But at the same time, I respect their rights to be able to do it. Not because I want it to exist, because it's always going to exist, but because freedoms are very, very difficult to obtain. A lot of blood has to be shed to obtain freedoms in a lot of cases. But freedoms are so easily lost. And once you lose them, you can't get them back. I hope Japan looks at this, just like that assemblyman, and laugh at it. Because like I said before, most countries have the same exact laws. Because most countries understand this is not a real person. And plus, this is really wholesome, by the way. There's nothing really bad in here. I don't think so. Yeah, there's nothing in here. Maid Dragon's wholesome. Don't ever let somebody, especially a foreigner, take your freedoms away.